In a private conversation with Republicans leaders last week, he talked about how he's going to fight made-up voter fraud. So let's play clip 2, and the voice you'll hear is Mark Kirk running for the Senate.
I have now funded the largest voter integrity program in the 15 years for the state of Illinois. These are lawyers and other people that will be deployed in key vulnerable precincts. For example, south and west side of Chicago, Rockford, Metro East, where the other side might be tempted to jigger the numbers somewhat.
Yeah, those are black neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. So they're going to send out these teams talk about voter integrity deployed in key vulnerable precincts, south and west sides of Chicago, Rockford, Metro East, where the other side might be tempted to jigger the numbers somewhat. There have been, for now years, Republicans have fought back against the notion that they are stealing elections, mm-hmm. Which are far more plausible, mm-hmm. with this notion of widespread voter fraud. And it's an age-old conservative tactic. It's a rallying cry for conservative groups. It's clearly, if it hasn't already been embraced by the Tea Party, I guess just because they haven't sweetened their tea with it yet. And they're trying to make it more difficult to cast ballots. They would love to have voter fraud come up and keep lines and lines of people from voting by claiming it's voter fraud, or have ballots disallowed because of voter fraud. So anyway, this is very typical. It's what Mark Kirk does in Chicago. And JR, we also have a local news story about it, right? So clip, this is how it's being covered in Chicago.
For him to insinuate that there is some vote fraud going on in these communities is just an insult to the hundreds and hundreds of people to serve as election judges.
Southside Alderman, Democratic committee member, and Alexi Giannulli's supporter Fredrina Lyle and others were also offended by Kirk's use of the verb jigger in reference to those areas heavily populated by blacks, even though the Merriam-Webster dictionary says jigger does mean to alter, rearrange, or manipulate, and has been used by many politicians to describe election fraud.
The problem I have is that it sounds so much like another word.
Kirk, in a tight race with Democrat Giannullius, is offended that anyone would think he would use a word that offends African Americans.
I'm actually offended that they would say that. I think that every vote should be counted and that we need to make sure it's a free and a clean election.
Dictionaries also say the word jig has been used as the short form of a racial slur against blacks.
He said what he meant. He may not have meant to say it in that manner, but he said it, and it's offensive.
Scandal.
It's such a downer. Because the Republicans accusing the Democrats of voter fraud is such a real story. And that's not, you know?
No, I know, it's not. But
yeah.
That was amusing.
Yeah, it's not like he said we might be tempted to G-grow the numbers, you know? I mean, for the love of God, it's a word, and again, it makes it much harder to defend the seriousness of the issue.
Right.
You know, it is a word, and yeah, you know what? A jig is much more likely to have been pejorative. If you say about a black guy that he was, you know, the way that Rick Sanchez said that cotton picking, which was, you know, despite Rick Sanchez's nonsense later, I still totally innocent. Right. I think. But if you said, oh, some black guy trying to get around the issue, in which you've heard politicians say he was dancing a jig around the issue, that's uncomfortable, right? But he didn't even use the shortened form of the word.
He said that they're trying to jigger the numbers.
Trying to jigger the numbers. That's what jigger means, manipulate the numbers.
But you know, it's crazy how the media works, because even after watching that news report, and even after realizing that that was a ridiculous news report that we shouldn't take seriously, I feel uncomfortable saying jigger. Because they've somehow made that word negative.